is Mr. Waugh for the Conservatives, please. Kevin?
Yeah,
5 minutes?
Yep, thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Scott, your term is up as CRTC. Can you give us an update as chair, your position, and are you helping out to find a replacement for yourself?
Thank you. I was anticipating somebody saying, "What are you doing here? I thought you were done in September." But I'm back. I'm a little bit like the common cold in the autumn. It's hard to get rid of me. I am not involved in the process. I'm often invited to sit on the panels that screen candidates for other roles, but the government quite properly didn't see it appropriate for the chair to participate in the selection of his or her successor. So I am not engaged in that process at all. My term's been extended to early January, and I expect it to end at that time.
All right, thank you. You know, the Australian model made Rupert Murdoch very, very rich. And I see here with Bill C-18, very rich will come from Bell Media, from Rogers Media. Just your thoughts. You said you're following the Australian model, or at least C-18 was intended to follow the Australian model. But when I looked at, broadcasters now, they've got their hand into the pot here of C-18. And not only their hand, I would say they've got their whole body into this. They are getting most of the money that could be available through Google and Meta. The independent local news fund that you cited, $23 million. I mean, how much more do Bell, Rogers, and other independent media need to survive in this country? When local newspapers, I thought C-18 was going to be the bill to help local newspapers. It is, in fact, the exact opposite. We have the multinationals, again, getting most of the money. They were involved in C-10, C-11, C-18. So I just want your comment on that, because I'm very worried that this bill was designed for newspapers and it's turned out to be anything but.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. First of all, I just should note that the fund, the CRTC established to support small news players, excludes the vertically integrated players. So they're not eligible to take money from that fund. I think the focus of the legislation, and again, maybe this should be directed to the minister, is to help news and journalism broadly. We regulate the broadcast news sector, and I can tell you that they have very extensive expenditure requirements that are imposed on them by us to ensure that Canadians obtain more than adequate quality news and independent news. The Australian situation is different. I think it's much more concentrated. Mr. Murdoch seems to play a very preeminent role in Australia, and we don't know yet, subject to further process once legislation, if passed, is brought into force, who exactly will be eligible and who will be on the hook, so to speak, to pay for it.
Well, I think we know. Chair of the CRTC, we're seeing reports out daily that Bell, Rogers, even our own public broadcaster is going to be at the trough on C-18. And I will say to you, because you're the chair of the CRTC, you know how much CBC means in this country and how much money they take out of the private organizations. Here is a public broadcaster again, where they shouldn't be taking money away from private, trying to survive in media fear. And here we have the public broadcaster, CBC, taking most of the money away from those that need it desperately, like the newspapers. This is just absurd. I just cannot believe that this bill has gone this far, allowing Bell, TELUS, and especially the CBC now to take most of the money away where it was once designed for small local newspapers.
30 seconds, 23 now.
Very quickly, we don't know what the numbers are. With respect, we haven't seen the final text of the legislation, and we haven't established either the exemption criteria or the other qualifications. So we simply don't know what those monetary amounts are or will be.
Well, they're going to be big.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
the
Scott.
PBO officer
Kevin?
indicated that.
Kevin, I love the mellifluous tones of your radio voice, but your time is up. Okay.